So I've got this Hitachi job site table saw, and like I've looked up, like a bunch of other people have found, it was out of alignment. So this blade I measured, it's a 16th of an inch tilted this way, and the fence is not easily adjustable, but also you want the blade even with the miter slots. I watched a couple other videos on this, and I tried adjusting the mounts. There's some mount locations under there, and I tried moving it, and there was really no. It made it slightly better if you just kind of rack it one way or push it. So I got it loose. I've got it loose right now. You can just kind of, try to force it this way. And I had that, and it was close. It was within 32nd of an inch. But this is really annoying. I got this saw because I wanted a better table saw, and when you're on the job, even when it was closer, it's just off. It's just off enough to every time you cut, it just binds. It binds at the end of the cut. So you want this. You want the fence parallel. You want the blade parallel to the table and the fence, just like a normal table saw. So I tried loosening the screws, and I'll show you in just a second. I tried loosening the screws on the tabletop. That didn't do anything. Tried, loosening the mounting bolts and racking it each way, and I got it close, like I said, about halfway. But then I'm going to show you what I found. I think this might be it. Hold on just a second. Okay, here we are underneath the saw, and you see that there's a plate, those plates up there. One of them is a plastic thing that holds the, I think that's the main thing that's holding this saw, or the blade in the motor, because that also allows it to tilt. So I've tried loosening those and moving them. There really wasn't much movement in them. And then here, the back one. Here's the back one. So I went ahead and pulled that off, and I'll show you what it had. So you got this piece. It goes like this, and it has like a metal spring, like a spring washer, or not a washer, but a spring steel right here, and it had a piece right here. And this is, now I'm not for sure yet, but I think this is what the problem was. I cut a 16th of an inch off of this. This thing was, and maybe it's supposed to be, but it was, you see how this thing, it sticks away from it. It kind of acts like a little bit of a spring. But I think that was a little bit too much. So when I tried to move this over, it's like this was preventing it from moving over. So I'm gonna put this together and see if I can hold the adjustment. So like I said, I cut a 16th off of this, and then hammered it a little bit, just because, like I said, it was kind of sprung way out. So I'm just gonna try this and see if then when I put it back together and tighten it up, I'm trying to move it over this way more. And I think that was preventing it from moving over and holding the adjustment. So you can see there is movement. And all I need to do is move this over a 16th of an inch, and everything will be in alignment. So I'll go ahead and put this back on and see if it'll hold.
trying to figure out if there's a front and back to this thing, but okay, so I'm gonna stick that back in there. Like I said, I've cut off a little bit, and then just putting some grease on this stuff. Put a little bit more. I got this old stuff, super old, from Rockwell. I don't know if it's still good, but it's just basically some machine grease kind of stuff. I'm gonna put some back in here. Don't need a whole lot. So this just goes back in now. This, and put the screws in. So my part is in. I hammered it a bit, but not. I almost could have hammered. I could actually hammer that out just a touch more. So I wanted it to basically be able to move over a 1/16 of an inch. So I don't know if I'll be able to do it on here. Well, we'll go with that. I'm gonna spray a little bit of more white lithium grease on there. And then I found the screws, so I'm gonna put that back together and then hope for the best. So it goes something like this, I think. Yeah, this all just pushes up. So I'll put these in. Got my number 3. Hopefully everything has stayed in place. Hard to see. And when I tighten this up, I'm still trying to move it. I'm trying to push it all the way to the right, which will get me my adjustment. See them? Hard to get this screwdriver in there. But you see, this, I'm pushing it as far as I can to the right. Seems to be staying fairly well. I'm tightening this side first, hoping it'll keep it. And I've almost stripped out a couple of other screws because I tend to over tighten things. So these ones hold pretty good. They got more meat, it looks like, but try not to. You can get them snug, nice and tight, but not. I don't want to strip them. It's aluminum. So those are nice and tight, not too tight. So that's back together, hopefully, and it should still work. And then we'll go and see if that held any adjustment. And while I'm under here, of course, I'll put a little bit of grease on some parts. So let's see if it worked. Okay, now we're back up here. The saw. First test. I know the fence. It looks a lot better already. Maybe not 100%, but just see. I'll take a measurement like another guy I saw one of the videos. So here we have, yeah,
it's just over 7 7/16. And then you move over here, and it is right at 7 7/16. Maybe a hair under. So it's still slightly out, and you can see from the fence is fairly accurate. So what I was doing on the job was I just kind of try to push that a little bit when I tighten the fence. So it's a lot better. It's a lot better than what it was. 30-second. It's still a 30-second out. It's just slightly more. It's a little more than 7 7/16. So it's really close, but still not perfect. I think it was a full 16th before. So it is much better, but still not all there. One thing you can do is when it's already tight put together, you just try to hammer it over a little more. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll loosen this again. I'll loosen this again and try to push it over real good. Okay. Whoa. So this time I used a pry bar, something just to hook onto one of the channels of the table and against this and crank it over when I tightened it. So that could be just enough. Oh, it's looking a lot better already. That might be it. Because the fence was pretty accurate. So let's see. Yep, just about it. If anything, it's just a tiny hair out. I mean, it's like, yep. So that's almost perfect now. It's just the slightest bit. Now, one other thing, doesn't always work, but let's just say I've got all these. There's 4 bolts that hold the tabletop on. So sometimes, rarely, but sometimes you could just give it a little, just give it a little tweaking like that, because basically it is the table. It's the table in relation to the blade. So if I can get any little bit of movement, which probably won't, but it's worth a shot. So did I go the wrong way? I didn't go the wrong way, right? It's really close. It's never been that good before on the fence, so it's hard to. You could also get a measurement from the fence, but so it's basically right at 7 7/16. 7 7/16. I thought that moved. Okay, well that's pretty good. So that's good. It's fixed. At least it's good enough for a job site table saw now. But it was seriously annoying because it was like it was off, and I would be like trying to tweak the fence when I lock it down, because I always check on these job site saws, I check the front and the back of the blade. But so that's pretty good now. And then also, I'm not sure. I think that did help by cutting that part, because it stuck out pretty far. But then, so it's like, and it should still work because all it does is slide on those. I've just been having to kind of crank it in to get it square and then tighten it right there. So, but you see it turns fine. It's not going to affect it that much, but anyway, that's a lot better than it was, and I just wasn't able to get that adjustment. It seems like it could be just a hair out still. I mean, this is pretty accurate with the
the table. Yeah, so it's really close now. So that's good. Definitely fine for a job site table saw now, but yeah, I tried all that before and I wasn't getting the movement. I probably could have hammered that little shim more, but I think that was preventing it from moving over. And then it still wasn't quite right, and then I used a pry bar underneath to find somewhere to hold on to and crank the assembly over and then tighten it. And it seems to be holding pretty good right there. So if I measure right from the blade, we've got to the inside of this track, what's that, 7 7/16, and something here, 7 7/16. So that's great. So anyway, hopefully this could help somebody, because I tried, it wasn't moving that much with the standard adjustments. So I just happened to take off that back part and find that shim had such a big curl in it that it seemed like it was not going to let it move over. So I cut a 1/16 inch off of that and hammered it down a little bit, and then that seemed to just let it move over a little bit more. So pretty good now. Thanks for watching.